Would you add an hour to your commute if you could save $1 million on the purchase price of your home? I'm about to give you $1 million reason in this video on exactly why you should consider living in Monroe and buying a house there if you work on the east side, say Bellevue or Kirkland. Before I get into the 5 reasons that you should consider buying a home in Monroe and living there, I want to kind of give you an idea of the location, just in case you're from out of town, maybe you don't know this area. Where the heck is Monroe located at? Well, it's kind of southeast of the city of Snohomish, not the county of Snohomish, but the city of Snohomish. It's a little bit further south and it's definitely further east out on Highway 2. It's also north of Woodinville, okay? So it's really kind of a reasonable destination to live if you work on the east side, like I said earlier, Bellevue, Kirkland, all of those kinds of locations, Snohomish, Issaquah. Monroe starts to make some sense when you look at a map and you look at 522 and the path to get down to work on the east side or to get back home. It's why so many people have decided to make Monroe their home over the last 15 years. 15 years ago, Monroe used to be just a farming community. It was a small town USA, very small agricultural community, didn't have a ton of infrastructure. It was just kind of something you passed through on Highway 2. These days, man, the game has changed massively. Lots of new construction, tons of new infrastructure, things like a movie theater. There is a lot of growth that has happened in this area over the last 15 years. And with that has come a lot more people that live here and a lot more new construction communities. Mainview, one of the largest home builders in the entire country, did a massive community here over the last 4 or 5 years. And that was a growth catalyst for sure for Monroe, and many other builders have followed in suit as well. Let's jump right into the 5 reasons you should consider possibly moving to Monroe. First reason to consider it is simply the location. The location makes a tremendous amount of sense if you work in the east side. A lot of my clients work at places like Amazon, Microsoft, and they go in the office like 2-3 times a week. They're not in the office every single day, but they're working at home a lot and then they drive in once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. For those people, Monroe starts to look really attractive when you compare the home prices, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, of Bellevue versus Monroe. There's a huge difference there. The second reason that people are moving to Monroe and calling Monroe home is the home prices. The average home price as of the making of this video, 2024, is $1.8 million in Bellevue. That comes out to something like a $18,000 to $20,000 a month mortgage. Who can afford that, right? So if you work in Bellevue, you can't necessarily afford to buy a home in Bellevue and live there as well. Like, you need to start considering what peripheral areas you could possibly buy a home in. If you are working in Bellevue, that would make sense. Like, what's a reasonable drive? And like I said, about 35 minutes to Monroe. That's where it starts to really make sense and become attractive. But so a $1.8 million average home price in Bellevue versus about an $850,000 average home price in Monroe. That is a huge difference. That's $1 million in price separation. And that is what has resulted in such explosive and dynamic growth in Monroe. $1 million is a tremendous amount of money. If you can drive 35 minutes, the question simply becomes, is it worth it to save that $1 million? If I show you a home for $1 million in Monroe, that same home is going to be something like $3 million in Bellevue. It's just a game changer for value on how much you're going to get. So a lot of people that work in Bellevue, they work on the east side. I've already said this, man, the home prices make a lot more sense in Monroe. The further you get away from Bellevue and from Seattle, the more house you get for the money, whether it's going south or it's going north, whatever, sometimes east. Snohomish and Issaquah are pretty expensive, but beyond that, there's some value if you keep going further east. But Seattle and Bellevue are truly the epicenter of high pricing in our state. So you want to get away from those areas if the value of the home is a consideration for you. If you have no budget and hey, $2-3 million, no problem for you on a home, definitely go look at Bellevue. But for a lot of people, that's just not in the cards. They got to go to some of these surrounding areas, and that's where Monroe really stands out and shines. Okay, the third reason is the outdoors. The outdoors are truly at your fingertips when you live in Monroe. Stevens Pass, a world-renowned ski resort, super popular with both snowboarders and skiers, is about a 50-minute drive from Monroe. So it's very quick to get up there. If you're an active skier or snowboarder, you want to get in some afternoon sessions after work, you can totally do that if you work in Monroe. You can do night skiing up there as well. Super fun and cool also. The second thing, Snohomish, which is like the big river that goes down Highway 2. It's about a 20-minute drive to get up to the river, and up there's fishing, like really good river fishing, and then there's also river rafting. We've taken our team river rafting up there a couple of times. Really fun outdoor activity. The water is freezing cold, just an insider tip there, but it's 100% worth doing and checking it out. A reason number 4 that people move to Monroe is that it's got a reasonable amount of infrastructure. When I say that, I mean like you don't have to drive away from Monroe to go find basic needs that you're going to have. You've got a Fred Meyer there that is absolutely huge. There's a Safeway as well. There's a Lowe's, there's a movie theater, and there's a lot of restaurants restaurants as well. So there's definitely plenty of infrastructure to take care of your most basic needs. If you're looking for Costco, the Lake Stevens Costco might be the closest one. They just put that in there about a year or two ago now. Pretty recent. It might be like a 15-minute drive from Monroe, just depending on traffic. But the infrastructure of Monroe is pretty solid, and it's not like you're going to be left out there wanting to have some more shopping that you don't have access to there. There's a really reasonable amount of shopping right at your fingertips when you live in Monroe. Reason number 5, the one you've all been waiting around for, is the awesome old school downtown of Monroe. Go down to Main Street down there, and it's pretty cool. There's lots of just kind of antique shops, some retail shopping, there's some restaurants, there's some bars, coffee shops, just kind of a cool place to go hang out. And then if you go walk past downtown a little bit, it is totally walking distance to downtown. Alborland Park is right there as well. There's a large outdoor park that just basically fronts the Snohomish River, and it's totally walking distance from downtown. So worth checking out for sure. Shout out to Lewis and Maine. That's my wife and my favorite restaurant in downtown Monroe. Really fun date night spot. They have some fantastic food, some good craft cocktails. 100% recommend checking out Lewis and Maine if you're looking for a great place for a date night in Monroe. There you have 5 of the top reasons people are moving to Monroe. There's plenty more as well. If you're unsure about this area, my suggestion is go drive through it. Go take a look at it. Go have lunch out there and see if this is the vibe that you might be interested in. My name is Mike Novak. I'm with the Novak Real Estate Team. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, all my contact information is down below. I would love to help you out.